Chapter 31 of The Harbor of Doubt. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Roger Moline. The Harbor of Doubt by Frank Williams. Chapter 31. Peace and Prosperity. The village of Freekirk Head prospered once Code Schofield, Bijonah Tanner, and Jed Martin had started the ball rolling. Inside a week another large consignment of fish arrived. Boughton was ready for it, and for all that could come, he said, in the next 2 months. This was music to the ears of Code Schofield and the crack crew of the Charming Lass, and 9 days after they had picked up their mooring in the little crescent harbor they were off again, salt and bait laden, for the Banks, expecting to do a little haddocking if they failed to load down with cod before they disappeared in October. 7 schooners sailed with him that day, and at the end of 9 weeks the Lass weighed anchor and charged home with the first halibut that had come into Freekirk Head in years. On this trip, when he was left in peace, Code displayed all the remarkable nose for fish that his father had had before him. And when he had weighed out the last of his halibut, Bill Boughton led him into the little office of the fish stand and offered him a quarter interest in the business. Thereafter Code was to make only such trips as he could spare time for, and Pete was to have charge of the Lass on other occasions. He had proved himself worth his salt in the eyes of the whole village, and Boughton needed some one to do the heavy work, while he collected most of the profits. This business future, and $3,000 in the bank, led Code one day to send to St. John's for an architect, and to haggle with Al Green concerning the cost of a piece of land overlooking the blue bay. The very night that Code and Elsa had their last talk, Nat Burns was smuggled aboard a motor sloop lying in Whale Cove and taken over to Eastport, where he was turned loose in the United States. Half of the value of the Nettie was eaten up by his debts and damage settlements, and so, the better to clear the whole matter up, he sold her at auction inside a week, and departed with the remnants of his cash to parts unknown. Since that time not a word or trace of him has been heard in Freekirk Head, except once. That was when the St. John's paper printed a photograph of an automobile that made a trip across the Hudson Bay country. Beside the machine stood a man in furs, who was claimed by all who saw the picture to be Nat Burns. Was he running a trap line in the wilds with the Indians, or was he a passenger in the car under an assumed name? Elsa Mallaby did not even wait for the departure of the Charming Lass on her second voyage before she acted on a determination that had come to her. She shut up Mallaby House entirely, and with Caroline as her companion, started on a trip around the world, promising to be back in 3 years. But she did not go on the mystery schooner, nor did anybody ever see or hear of it again. It soon developed that the government officials were hard after the boat that had impersonated a gunboat, and would make it very hot both for owners and crew. Elsa knew this the day she made her final triumphant dash into Freekirk Head, and that was the reason that the ship only stayed 10 minutes. So quietly and skillfully was the whole thing managed that in the excitement of Code's arrest everyone thought Elsa and her sister had come on the evening boat from St. John's. Not 3 men on the island would have connected her with this strange craft, and 2 of those weren't sure enough of anything to speak above a whisper. The third was Code Schofield. Captain Foraker took the mystery schooner outside the harbor pointed her nose straight south by the compass, and held her there for a matter of 10 days. At the end of that time he was in danger of pushing Haiti off the map, so he went to Port-au-Prince and sold the schooner at a bargain to the government, which at that time happened to need a first-class battleship. Then Captain Foraker and the crew divided the money, by Elsa's orders, and returned to the States. It was only after the return from his second cruise that Code paid attention to Nellie Tanner. Something in him that respected her trouble, and Elsa's confession at the same time, had kept his lips sealed during that short stay at home. But one Sunday after the second trip they climbed to the crest of the mountain back of the closed Mallaby House, and Code told her what had been in his heart all these years. For a while she said nothing. The sun was setting over the distant Maine coast, and the clouds all round the horizon were wonderful masses of short-lived rainbow texture. The sea was the pink and greenish blue of floating oil. "You get me a trifle shop-worn," she said at last, laughing uncertainly. "Then I get you?" He had turned toward her with a flash of boyish eagerness. One look at her radiant face and shining eyes found the answer. "Shop-worn?" he said after a while. "Well, so am I, a trifle, but not in the way you mean. If having the down knocked off one, and seeing things truer and better for it, is being shop-worn, then thank God for the wearing. It has been a roundabout way for us, little girl, but at last our paths have met, and from now on, God willing, they shall go together. Come, I want to show you something." They walked through the woods until they found the place where the surveyors had laid out the foundation plan for the little house. There they found an interested couple gravely discussing a near-by excavation with the aid of a blueprint. Presently the couple turned around, and the lovers clutched each other in amazement. "Bless me!" gasped Code. "If it isn't Ma and Pete Ellinwood!" The end. End of chapter 31. Recording by Roger Moline. End of The Harbor of Doubt by Frank Williams.